everyone, I'm Katharine. I am a senior sales engineer here at GrowthLoop, and today I'm going to be walking you through our Journey Builder product. So why use GrowthLoop for journeys? Well, number one, it's going to enable you and your marketers to go completely cross-channel with all of your customer interactions. So you'll be able to utilize any combination of channels that's currently in your marketing stack, as well as any that you might want to experiment with in the future. All right, so number one, it's super flexible and cross-channel. And number two, unlike legacy customer data platforms or CDPs, it's going to enable you to use any data point that lives in your entire enterprise data cloud to tailor those customer experiences. So instead of having to conform to those really rigid schemas and systems that tend to come along with those more traditional CDP offerings, your journeys are going to live right in your data cloud. You'll be able to use any history of customer interactions, any customer attributes in order to build that journey. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. But before I pop on over into journeys, I actually want to make a quick pit stop here on our destinations page, because this goes back to what I was saying about leveraging a really flexible cross-channel approach within GrowthLoop. So you can see here that I've connected a wide variety of different destinations. I've connected email platforms, paid media conversion APIs, Adobe, Salesforce CRM. We can connect to basically any platform that exists in your marketing stack today. And like I said, any additional ones that you wish to experiment with in the future. So if I go up here and click on new destination, you'll be able to see that entire menu of destinations that's available to you. And just to show you how easy it is to connect to one of them, I'm going to go ahead and grab an example, Sailthrough. So let's say that you are connecting up Sailthrough as your email platform. Super simple. You're just going to drop in a destination name. So how you want this to appear within the GrowthLoop platform, a default frequency for how often you want us sending information to Sailthrough, a few quick credentials, and then you are ready to roll. So super easy to, again, drop in the credentials for any of your current platforms, any future platforms, so that you can leverage any combination of those in a cross-channel journey. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pop into our Journey Builder. We're not quite to the main event yet, but before you actually hop into that interface, which is going to be a super intuitive UI, we're going to set up some quick journey settings. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say we're creating a lapsed champions win back journey. So my goal here is going to be targeting or trying to recapture, let's say, customers who were formerly really large purchasers, but who have gone stagnant over the past few months. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is grab an entry audience. In GrowthLoop, we have an audience builder. Audiences are sort of like the fundamental building blocks of our platform. It's going to be a super simple no-code segmentation UI. And just like journeys, it sits right on top of your data cloud. So you're going to be able to build an audience, just a group of customers, using any of the criteria that exists in that enterprise data cloud. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab these high value lapsed customers. And you can see I also have the option to create an audience as the entry point to my journey. I'm going to go ahead and just start with this one that I've already created. All right, a few more settings to walk through. So number one is scheduling. So GrowthLoop allows you to get super custom and granular with the kind of journey schedule that you want to set. And so a few options, you can go for a one-time journey. So you say, I just want to hit publish, run it just that one time, or you can schedule that one-time run for some time in the future. You can set an always-on journey. So if you want this to constantly be reevaluating, constantly pushing folks through to the next step in their journey, you can set it to always on. Recurring scheduled, maybe you want to run it only on certain days of the week, you can go ahead and set a recurring schedule journey. Or, and this is the option we're going to use today, you can choose manual mode. Manual mode essentially allows for maximum control. So whereas the other options are very automated, manual mode is going to allow you to step through each individual node in that journey and manually execute each one. So it's giving you that maximum control over how users are progressing through the journey. A few more quick settings. Can users re-enter the journey? So let's say that these lapsed purchasers in my journey works, they repurchase, but then they go another 6 months without purchasing. The question here is, should they be allowed to re-enter it and go through the same journey again? We're going to say yes, but you have the option to permanently exclude them if not. Then last piece is going to be global exit audiences. So you can think of global exit audiences as sort of like a global exit criteria. So it's really useful for, and this is what I'll do right now, grabbing opt-outs. So global exit basically says at any point in the journey, if someone becomes eligible for this audience, in this case, it's an audience defined by an opt-out, and they're going to be immediately removed from the journey. So super useful for compliance and for ensuring that you're respecting your customers' communication preferences. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the actual main event, which is the Journey Builder UI. So you can see here, we are starting with this entry audience, my entry audience of high-value lapsed customers. And you can see that this is based on my data cloud, which lives in BigQuery. So you have any variety of nodes on the right-hand side here that you can use to build your journey. So it's fundamentally a no-code UI that allows marketers to build really any kind of journey they can conceptualize in a really intuitive drag and drop fashion. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by grabbing a criteria node. So a criteria node is basically, you can kind of think of it as almost a mini audience builder. It's a way of separating out your customers into different logical groups so that they can go down a more personalized path. So you're going to be able to deliver much more relevant content to the people in each of these groups. So in this case, I'm going to call my criteria node my product propensity. Check. So with GrowthLoop, you can pull in any attribute that lives in your warehouse, whether that's a really simple attribute like, let's say, geography, so the city or state where someone lives. But you can also pull in more complex models. So in this case, let's say that I have a product propensity model that lives in my data warehouse, and it's going to let me know which folks are most likely to buy which categories. So I'm going to hop in here, and I'm going to grab my filter, which is called product propensity, and I'm going to filter to apparel. So these are my shoppers who are most likely to purchase something within the apparel category. So I'll continue to customize their journey and the content they're receiving to reflect the items that I think that they are most likely to buy. Now you can add as many different, we'll call them subnodes, basically just groups, to this criteria node as you want. So let's say that I have another group that tends to spend a lot on pet supplies. I have a cat and I spend quite a lot on pet supplies, so this would probably be me. Product propensity is pets. Lovely. So we've now got our apparel group. We've got our group of folks most likely to buy things for their pets. And then we have this final bucket of everyone else. So folks who have a different product propensity. In this case, I'm really just going to continue down these custom journeys for folks interested in apparel and pets. So one thing I also want to note about criteria nodes is, yes, we applied that differentiating criteria. We also have a concept of what we call custom attributes, which are attributes that I want to specifically assign to the folks in these different groups to, again, just continue to make this journey as relevant, as personalized as possible. So I'm going to hop into settings here on my apparel group, and I'm going to go ahead and add a custom attribute. And so in this case, I'm going to call it promotion, and it's going to be the promotion that I want to offer to these customers. So I'm going to say that it's a text attribute. We'll talk about the alternatives to that in a second, but we're just going to call this my 20% off apparel coupon. All right. So this attribute can now be written back to my warehouse or into my destination, just to be very clear that this is the promotion that these folks have been assigned to. Now, I'm also going to grab a second custom attribute, but this time I'm going to use what we call an attribute formula. So this is going to allow you to get very nuanced and precise with the attributes that you're assigning to these customers based on the data that lives in your warehouse. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call this their last category item purchased. And keep in mind, these folks are in the apparel category. So I'm going to write an attribute formula here so I can, if I'm a more technical marketer, I can just go ahead and input a formula that, again, uses the values from the database to customize this specific person or each person's experience. So in this case, I'm going to grab the last item they purchased from the apparel category because in the content of my email, I want to say, I hope you're enjoying the sweater you bought, the pants you bought. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this. So select my product name from my orders table where the product type is apparel. Here we go. I am going to order by the purchase date so I can get the most recent one, and I only want one item. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull in just the latest apparel item they purchased so I can customize that content. So again, custom attributes. Awesome way of being able to just further personalize what you're delivering to your customers. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this because I'm going to do the exact same thing for my folks with the pet propensity. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assign them the exact same custom attribute here. And it's going to tell me there's another one that's perfect because what this means is that when I write this field promotion to either my warehouse or to my destination, it's going to include everyone's correct assignment or label here in the same column. Great. So I'm going to say this text is a 20% off pets coupon. And then I'm also going to go ahead and do last category item purchased. Great. It's going to write it to the exact same column. But in this case, I'm going to change this to be the pets category and did all that nice auto formatting for me. So custom attributes, like I said, just a great way of being able to further enrich and label your segments. So now that I'm done with my criteria node and assigning those attributes, first of all, I'm going to zoom out, got that handy zoom there. The next thing I'm going to bring in is an experiment node. So GrowthLoop experiment nodes allow you to split up your audience, or in this case, this subgroup, into as many different variations as you want for A/B testing, treatment control testing, really whatever you can dream up. We'll handle the random assignment and we'll write all of this back to your warehouse and to your destination. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that for these folks in the pets group, I'm going to have an email copy experiment. So I'm going to have two versions of my email copy. And I have the option of splitting people up by percentage, so 50% in one group, 50% in the other, or by count. So giving an actual number. So if I have a certain budget, I don't want to go over that budget for my campaign, I can always put in just an exact count for the number of people that should get each email. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do percentage. I'm going to do my copy 1 version, gets 45% of people. Copy 2 gets 45%. And then I'm going to add another group. I'm going to say that control gets the remaining 10%. So experiment nodes, like I said, really great way to ensure that you're testing your different content, your different channels, because I'll be able to split these folks down any path that I want at this point. So now that I've got my experiment in place, I'm going to go ahead and set up the actual activation, which in this case is going to be that email offer. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in a destination node. And like I showed earlier, you can connect to as many different channels across your entire stack as you'd like. So completely flexible. And I'm going to start out with my folks in this apparel category. Going to connect this up, and I'm going to call this my apparel promo email. I'll then select a destination. I'm going to go ahead and grab sail through, and I'm going to configure my export. And so in this case, I'm going to say my export name is my apparel promo audience. I'm going to grab my match field. So I'm letting my destination platform know how it should match folks to existing records. So I'm going to say email address. So it should take the customers from my warehouse, match them to sail throughs records based on email. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab what we call personalization fields. So you can grab in any fields from the data warehouse that you want to send along with these campaign members to sail through. So maybe you want to send first name, last name to customize your content with name. In this particular case, I want to send those two custom attributes that I created. So I want to send along the promotion that I tagged them with, and I also want to send them along with that last category item purchased field, so I can include that in the content or the creative of my email. Last but not least, user consent. Some platforms will require you to have a field in your warehouse that acknowledges or records a user's consent. In this particular case, I'm going to simply click apply, and I have my destination node. One of the great underrated things about GrowthLoop's Journey Builder is that you can also copy and paste nodes. So I have this apparel promo email. I know my pets emails, the destination configuration is going to be super similar. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste. So I copy and paste here, connect this guy up. I'm going to call this my pets promo email 1, because I'm going to actually have two versions. Pets promo audience 1. I want to send the same match field, the exact same personalization fields here. I'm going to click apply, and I'm going to copy this again. Super easy. I'm going to do pets promo email 2. Make some small adjustments in here. And at this point, I am ready to go. Great. So at this point, I am able to send emails to the folks who have the product propensity for apparel. I'm able to send it for the folks who have this pets product propensity, and I'm sending these two different versions. Let's say that for these specific folks in this pets group, I want to keep going, even further down the chain to create a really customized journey based on how they interact with my email, or based on, how their purchase behavior changes. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and pull in a delay node. So a delay node lets Journey Builder know, hey, I actually want you to wait before you evaluate a next step. So in this case, I'm going to say that I'm going to give folks about 5 days to change their purchase behavior based on receiving this coupon. I'm then going to actually check to see, did that purchase behavior change by dragging in another criteria node. I'm going to call this my purchase check. All right, so did they purchase? There we go. If so, awesome. So let's do my last purchase date. And again, this is all just directly from your own data warehouse. You have tons of custom data operators here. So I'm going to say, did it occur within the last 5 days? So after 5 days, I check. I say, did they actually purchase in the past 5 days? If they did, awesome. Their journey can end there. They did exactly what I was hoping they would do. If not, maybe email just isn't really the best channel with which to be talking to these folks. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another destination node, but this time I'm going to send them to paid media. So again, you can go as cross-channel as you want. I think I'll do Google Ads. Let's go ahead and grab a Google Ads node here. Easy. I'm going to call it Google Ads, Pets Promo. And you can see here that I have this massive range of match fields. So depending on the data I have in my warehouse, I'm able to really optimize the match criteria that I'm bringing in and sending to that destination platform to optimize my match rates. In this case, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to grab email. Again, we have a user consent field if you need it, and I will click apply. So for right now, I'm going to call it here. So next you want to actually run it. And if you all recall, I selected manual mode here. I can always check, by the way, my settings right here. Great, I selected manual mode. The reason I want manual mode here is because my journey is supposed to take at least 5 days, and I don't have 5 days with you all. So I'm just going to go ahead and run a few nodes so that you can see what it looks like once you publish a journey and how folks progress through it. All right, so in this case, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click save, and then I'm going to go ahead and click publish. Awesome, journey published successfully. So a few things to note here, you are always going to have an activity panel to show you who's progressing through what node, how many folks are in each group, as well as an errors panel. So had I had any errors upon publish, I'd be able to check them out there. But in this case, again, remember, I am in manual mode, so I can go ahead and run all of these nodes individually. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through this product propensity node here. I'm just going to say run until this node. So process the entry node, so who's coming into this audience, as well as this criteria node, so who's going into which bucket. So I can go ahead and press run until this node. We'll give that just a second. Right, so you can see here that my entry node kicked off processing, and I'm starting to see counts pull up. So my counts are going to let me know how many folks are currently in a step and how many all time have actually completed that step. So we'll give it just a minute. All right, awesome. So you can see here that about 175,000 people were eligible for my entry node. So 175,000 folks are going to pass through this journey right now, and you can see that now this product propensity node is in the processing stage. So I've got about 175,000 people currently being evaluated to see which of these 3 buckets they fall into. All right, and you can see that now it's finished evaluating. So we've got 19,000 folks in my apparel group, 15,000 in my pets group, and about 137,000 folks who don't qualify for this journey because they have a different product propensity. And if I wanted, like I said, I could go ahead, I could keep going through executing each of these nodes, either individually or in groups. But for today, I'm going to call it here just for the sake of time. Again, what we think makes GrowthLoop Journey Builder special. Number 1, super flexible cross-channel opportunities. You can pull in whatever channels you want to make sure that your content is as custom, as appropriate, and as relevant for folks as possible. And the number 2, the ability to pull in really any data point from your enterprise data warehouse to ensure, again, that this journey is hyper-personalized and that the content everyone is receiving really matches their experience with your organization.